Howdy folks, welcome to the Bluegrass Roadshow. First and foremost, we just want to thank each and every one of you for your support this far, as we couldn't do it without you, and it definitely does not go unnoticed. If you haven't already, please check out our website at bluegrassroadshow.com and be sure to subscribe to the mailing list, as this is the best way to stay up to date with the Roadshow and receive exclusive insights as well as a monthly newsletter. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, as we are always uploading more long-form videos there that aren't quite sufficient for socials. If you haven't already, go check out the first 2 episodes of the show, including the interview with Ryan and Silas from North Fork Crossing. This past month, we have been focused on keeping the calendar and website as up-to-date as possible. We are always taking recommendations for new acts and festivals to follow and highlight, so if you don't see one of your favorites, just send us a suggestion there. We have also been editing and uploading all of the media from Romp Bluegrass Festival, which took place back in June down in Owensboro, Kentucky, and we'll be breaking that down more in the next internal episode. We're extremely grateful for everybody involved with Romp for putting on such an amazing event and allowing us to come down there and cover it. Additionally, we've put out our first piece of merch designed by a good friend who goes by Jowsley, so go check him out on Instagram, as well as the design itself is on our page. Pre-orders for this have been closed, but we may have printed a few extra, so if anyone's interested, just shoot us a message. It has been a super busy month with all this being said, including preparing for the upcoming Bluegrass Roadshow event that we are putting on with the 65 North Pickers in Fishers, Indiana. At the time of this release, the show was just about 5 days out on Friday and Saturday, August 7th and 8th. It takes place at the Sun King Brewery, less than a mile away from Fishers Event Center, where Billy Strings will be playing hot bluegrass for 3 nights. We will have many of your favorite lot vendors, as well as 4 total sets from these talented young pickers, so if you're around, please stop by. You definitely don't want to miss out. Coming up at the end of the month here in August, we'll be hanging out with our friends from Chromatic Dimension Tie-Dyes and Dome Swap at the Ionia Freak Fair. We will be dropping a couple of sweet Michigan-specific merch designs and looking to capture some interviews and meet all of you fine folks. So if you're there, please come on by. Now let's go ahead and jump into this week's interview with Riley from Mo Banjo Co. Riley is an avid bluegrass lover residing in Salt Lake City who is building a unique platform to help promote rising bluegrass acts. He has launched the Backyard Sessions, which is an ongoing series of short concerts with different bands performing live and to single mics in front of a small, tight-knit audience. You can find these on YouTube at Mo Banjo Co, as he's just released an amazing episode with our good friends over at 65 North. Riley fancies himself as a connector and networker, looking to be the cornerstone for bringing like-minded individuals together in the Northwest who can help each other grow and bring new faces through their local music venues. I thoroughly enjoyed my time sitting down with Riley and discussing what bluegrass means to him and so much more. I hope you all enjoyed this one as much as I did. So without further ado, let's get into it. Mo Banjo Co. We'll just jump right into it. I've got our friend Riley here from Mo Banjo Co. Why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah. Hey, Hunter. Thanks for having me, man. So we're a media, somewhat marketing company. We're just trying to figure it out as we go from Salt Lake City, Utah. Um, we started Mo Banjo Company just about a year ago. And when we started just about a year ago, it was building merchandise, based around the Bluegrass is cool mantra that came to me as my wife and I were out on a hike in Washington State. It's like, you know, bluegrass is cool. And that stuck. And at least for me anyways. And so we started building some merch around that and just having fun with that. And I don't know, somewhere along the line we started realizing that it was more than merch and that we wanted to help not just get involved in the local Salt Lake music scene, but also just kind of get a bit more, bring bigger and better shows and more opportunities to not just the artists that were there, but the artists that were or that we were wanting and projecting and hoping would want to start coming to play in Salt Lake. And it's funny, it's over the last year as we've been growing as a company, we've just kind of noticed that bigger and bigger acts are starting to come to Salt Lake. Not that we've got necessarily a lot to do with that. Now we have helped some come through. But at the end of the day, we've been very fortunate to be able to make a lot of really awesome connections, including with Bluegrass Roadshow, right? This is really fun what you're doing too, and I feel like we kind of started at the same time and have kind of grown together. But yeah, that's we're having a lot of fun with what we're doing, whether it's helping bands get booked out in Mountain West tours or focusing on our Backyard Bluegrass series that we have on Instagram and YouTube. It's just been a really fun endeavor, just bringing us closer and closer to the music that we love.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Well, I love the bluegrass is cool mantra, and I think
Appreciate it.
if any time now, bluegrass is cooler than ever. It
Exactly.
seems like it's really making its way out into the mainstream. You're hearing it on the radios. You're seeing other artists and genres kind of dibble and dabble and collaborate with some of these artists. So yeah, bluegrass is cooler than ever. So perfect fitting for that. Um, you mentioned being out there in Salt Lake City, and that's actually one of the things I kind of wrote down. What is the bluegrass scene like out there in Utah? And I guess you talk about its growth over the last year. What have you seen growth wise for it?
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, it's an awesome scene we've got in Salt Lake. It's really fun to be a part of. There's a great organization called the Trash Moon Collective, and they've been around for several years now. Our friend Melissa Chilinsky now runs it. A very extremely talented artist. Holy cow! And the vast number of bands that she's a part of are all very good. She's currently on tour out on the East Coast, but nonetheless, the Trash Moon Collective is a great community, and so they've kind of been the core foundation of the Salt Lake City bluegrass scene, and they put on all kinds of events, whether it's concert series or a similar backyard concert series. Actually, ironically, they do jam sessions that bring together a lot of artists. Essentially, they are the glue for the artist community, and then we kind of fill in on like the media and the promotional side of things. And so it's just been a really fun relationship, kind of going back and forth, working with Trashman. And then we've got some incredibly talented bands in Salt Lake, and it's been really fun just getting plugged in with them. And our good friends, the Pickpockets, we just had them on for a backyard bluegrass session. We're excited to release here soon in the next few weeks. So yeah, whether it's getting connected with just like the local community itself, and then of course the amazing like fans and people that live in Salt Lake that support, right? Um, so there's that side of it, and then there's the amazingly talented bands that just over the last years we've been getting connected. We've been throwing shows, and we help with their promotional items on socials and just all the things that whether artists like it or not, it's we feel it's our responsibility to help promote the bands and the music that we love so that those bands can focus on being artists, right? And we've got it in our taglines, we've got it on our website. One of our biggest core beliefs in what we're doing at Mo Banjo Co is just helping artists be artists.
I love that. I think now more than ever, we're living in a time of social media and fast
Yep.
pacedness, and it's like you've got to stay on the forefront. You've got to stay on people's For You page. You've got to be out there to be seen, to grow.
Yep.
And it's a little different than it happened traditionally. So I love that you're trying to let artists be artists. I think that's really cool because I think that's a big takeaway. If you got to spend multiple hours a day trying to promote what you're doing, that really can take away from practice and just everything in between.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I don't think I've ever rejected or not shared an artist tagging us in something on our page just because I know that while they still even probably have bigger followings than we do, hey, we might get five sets of eyes on whatever it is that they're promoting, and maybe that's five extra tickets. Maybe they bring a friend to the show, that's 10 extra tickets, right? Like those little things matter because it's all volume based, and you never know. Maybe us resharing something helps that band find 10 new fans, right? And that to me is incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. No
Should
matter no matter the outreach, big or small, new faces are new faces, and I think that's good, especially in a time where it's everybody. I mean, everybody strives for success, right? I mean, nobody wants to do something and not be successful. But that being said, it is a cutthroat industry in the sense
yeah.
that I don't want to say competition as much as everybody's fighting for a spot. There's plenty of spots available, but you just gotta get to where that spot is. So I think that's pretty cool. I love what you guys got going here already. Um, I take it you've been into bluegrass for a long time, or where's your love for bluegrass come from?
Yeah, I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and went to school at Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina, and that's obviously big time Doc Watson country up there. So the Appalachian bluegrass roots run deep for us, and have just always carried a love for it, and have always, I should say, carried an appreciation for it. I can't say that I was always into the bluegrass and jam music, but um, growing up in North Carolina, and you walk down the street of Boone on King Street, and you got Doc Watson statues sitting on the bench there in front of the Mass General store, right? It was always just kind of like a little reminder of like the foundation and the impact that obviously he had on bluegrass as a genre and in the evolution, right? Like um but just a reminder of, hey, we should appreciate this type of music. And um, so I would say that, I've always enjoyed it, always appreciated it, but the real love for bluegrass came probably 5, 6 years ago. I really just started getting into Billy Strings, as a lot of us do, right? And
Sure. Yeah.
and kind of a lot of us that are in the industry now, it seems like, have kind of that Billy foundation. For me, it was before even Billy was Green Sky Bluegrass, and um, I've talked about this before, but I was at a show, kind of a last minute decision. We were living in Chattanooga. Green Sky and the Wood Brothers were playing at the Caverns Amphitheater. And just on a whim on a Friday night, I decided, my wife was out of town. I just decided, hey, I'm going to go check Green Sky, right? It was like an hour drive, whatever. We had just gotten a puppy. So yeah, I just decided, hey, let's go. Thank God I did, because Green Sky decided to bring out Billy Strings halfway through their set, and that was my first intro into. Yeah, I had listened to Billy, I had been aware of Billy, I'd watched a lot of YouTube videos, whatever, right? But then seeing him live was just the game changer. I don't think I went to sleep that night. I was just like freaking juiced, like and that is really where it all began. And have seen Billy obviously several times since, and Green Sky, of course. But then what really started as like the love and the passion was finding up and coming bands and being really excited about that. And that's really started to evolve here over the past couple of years. And I'd be lying if I said that wasn't like the true core foundation for starting Mo Banjo Co. And getting more into like the media side, is being able to um, you know, find and discover new bands as they're on the rise. And I mentioned Bluegrass Roadshow growing together. It's cool to also get connected to bands early on in their days, and we all grow together, right? And help promote them and get them booked on little mini Mountain West tours where we're getting them in front of fans that will truly appreciate their music, right? Like, um, so yeah, it's, I guess that's a long way to answer your question, but we just truly love the music and the genre, and it's just evolved to all types of different offshoots of the music, but then offshoots of really awesome relationships too. So it's been a fun endeavor thus far.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I think I can relate to that very well. I grew up in Kentucky. So it's, always around
Yeah.
bluegrass. I've heard it since I was a kid. Um, but always, like you said, always appreciated it. But I guess my love for it, same thing, kind of came in the last 5 or 6 years. Just becoming more of an adult and getting out there. You find out what you like, and it sticks. And same thing goes for me. I think the first time I saw Billy, I don't know if I slept that night or not. I believe it was Halloween 22 was the first time I
Oh
saw
my
Billy,
gosh.
maybe. Yeah, it was
That's
it
a
was
hell
like
of a first one.
yeah, exactly. I'd obviously, been a fan for many years. But I moved up to Michigan, so I was way up north, in the middle of
Nice.
nowhere. So it's kind of isolated and hard to get to anything. So when the time finally come, I was like, enough's enough. I'm gonna start getting out there. I'm gonna travel and I'm gonna go catch some shows. And ever since then, I've been hooked. But I grew up down in Kentucky and in like the heart of bluegrass country, the bluegrass state. And it's just I think it's for all of us that, like you said, you growing up in North Carolina, it's an interesting upbringing to be surrounded by something so much like that. I know, you get down into Tennessee, more country, obviously still the bluegrass, but it's like growing up in these areas that are so rich in culture based on the music. I think just it has a lot to do with just the way people live and operate in those places. And bluegrass is one of those genres, I think, that no matter good or bad, tough times or not, it always kind of seems to bring people together and
Exactly.
brings us together here today to have this conversation. So it's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing that we've got going on. That's for sure.
Right. It's community-based music. It's important, and I remind myself of that all the time. You mentioned it's a cutthroat industry, but you know, the more I dig into this specific genre of music, I find more and more people that are willing to help each other versus, take away uh from others, and bands that want to support each other, and companies and pages and brands and stuff that like ours that, want to help grow together. I think of my friends Riley and Miller, Grass Fed Bluegrass, right? Or Cody with What's the Reason for This Podcast, Alex with Honey Hole Music. It's like everybody, Matt and Emily with Dome Swap, everybody is just kind of in this like, let's help each other grow mentality. And I think that is a very important thing, uh, to as a foundational piece for how we operate within this industry, right? Like, why shouldn't we all want to grow together? Why shouldn't we all want to support one another? That's the origin of this type of music, right? There's a reason that you trade licks, right? During each individual song. Everybody gets a turn, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely. I think, matter of fact, speaking of Matt over there, I think me and him were just talking about something similar over the last couple of weeks. Is this, in bluegrass, it's not too many other genres have it. I mean, jazz obviously does, but it's like the way you trade back and forth while playing, but also the way these songs have been traded around for so many years. Right,
yeah,
some of these
yeah,
songs that are played,
great point.
even by Billy on stage these days, some of these songs are 100+ years old, going back to their origins. And obviously that would never trickle down and make it till today if it wasn't passed on knowledge. So I think everybody just working together, like you said, is something more prevalent that I've seen in this industry than anything else I've been involved with. Although I think it's cutthroat in the sense that you can only go to so many shows in a month, or you can only listen to so many
Yep,
albums at once in the day, right? So it's like fighting for that spot in the frontal lobe. There's room
yep,
for everybody, and like you said, the amount of people that are willing to help each other grow, whether it be bands, separate organizations, people like doing marketing and media. I think nobody in this day and age, it's hard to do anything alone.
right.
And unless you just really got it figured out. So that being said, it's really cool how everybody comes together. And I think, social media is also becoming such a massive tool for people to collaborate and for people to get in touch with each other. I mean, um, back in the day, it was just wherever you were picking at or whatever you were doing, it was whoever was
Right.
around you in that room, that's who you knew. But now it's like, hey, this guy's all the way across the country, but we can help each other be more successful. Cool, let's
Yep.
make it happen. We're in this time that's really cool and really special. I think, in all terms of history and music, I'm glad that we're alive right now in this moment for bluegrass.
Could not agree more.
I wanted to ask, I read it down here, but Where did the inspiration for the Mo Banjo name come from? I mean, it just rolls off the tongue perfectly.
I appreciate that. It's funny because a lot of people, will get like mojo, banjo a lot, or it's like a tongue twister for some folks. But, honestly, it was just a simple, um, it was just a play on words. I was like, how can we kind of intertwine a key piece of bluegrass music, the banjo, into a fun kind of catchy company name, right? And then it really stuck once the idea of our logo came about, where let's, like, we kind of take the banjo and then spell banjo in the shape of a banjo, and
Sure.
then the Mo and Co just kind of fit perfectly above and below. So it was just one of those things. It came to me on the same damn hike as Bluegrass is Cool was the original thought process of Mo Banjo Company as well. This was a long ass hike. We were out in the deep woods of the Central Cascades in Washington, but
So you had
a
a lot of
fun one
time on your
nonetheless.
hands.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's funny how inspirational being out in nature can be.
Oh, absolutely. We're not meant to just stare at screens all day at home or work monotonous jobs 7 days a week. It's really a beautiful thing when you get outside and you realize, like, man, I've been missing this.
It is. Yep. It's actually incredible. My wife and I were literally having this conversation this past week as we were out we were able to sneak out a little early last week and take a weekday hike, and we just hadn't done it in a while, and I think we both came down just completely rejuvenated, like, wow, the power of the outdoors has
Yeah,
struck us both.
that's something. I love that. And that being said, speaking of the outdoors, your backyard sessions, those are obviously going
Yeah.
on in the backyard, going on outdoors. You've released 5 sessions up to this date, right?
Yeah. Right.
I've definitely listened to all of those a couple of times.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
and yeah, I'll let you talk about it. I obviously kind of wrote them down here, but if you want to go through those and just briefly, chat about those 5, would love to hear a little bit more about the how you started that and how it's been going working with these 5 first bands.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you to all of the bands that we've had out. Quite honestly, it's the most proud project I think I've ever built, because it was, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, it was just an idea, and now here we are with 5, and we've got an awesome one that we filmed with the Pickpockets a couple of weeks ago, which will be number 6. And we're, currently in the process of booking our fall and spring roster for next year. Yeah, I could not be more thankful to Pixie and the Party Grass Boys, Raccoon Rodeo, North Fork Crossing, the Last Wild Buffalo, and of course the 65 North Pickers. We, we took advantage, obviously, of having the close proximity to the majority of those bands. North Fork was an opportunity for us. We were able to book them a show with the Pickpockets at Fisher Brewing. And then, of course, capitalize on them being in town and doing a session. So, that's literally it. Like, it was spawned from, okay, well, how we want to entice bands to play more shows and make Salt Lake more of a mainstay. What's something else aside from just show money and selling tickets and merch at their show that we can do to make Salt Lake more of a desirable place? And that's sort of where the Backyard Bluegrass session was born. We don't live too far from center downtown, in which the majority of the Salt Lake venues are. So it's super easy for us to make a session while a band's in town, and then they can either head straight to their show, or sometimes we've been able to do it where the band shows up the night before and then go play, do a session that night, and then goes plays the next night. Yeah, it's just capitalizing on those opportunities. Mm, you know we're always looking to book, of course, but yeah, it's funny that the true origin of the Backyard Bluegrass series was, like, we got this beautiful, it's like a 30-40 foot sequoia tree in the middle of our backyard. When my wife and I first got to the property and we walked through, and you look through the big glass window off the back of the house and you just see this tree, like, holy cow, we were mesmerized. And I swear we bought the house for that tree. And it's just been really cool to, over the last 6 months since we've been doing this, we didn't open up the first few of them to an audience, and we've only opened up really the last two to an audience, and that's been a really fun addition because it's allowed us to introduce things like applause and clapping and really also just like giving the artists a an audience, right? Like they play in front of an audience, and when they play their best shows, they're in front of an audience. So we want them to have that feeling. If they screw up 3/4 of the way through the song, well, hey, just cut and we'll refilm and you just pick right back up, right? It's a live recording. But it also gives them kind of that comfortability. We tell every artist that comes through that we want this to be the least stressful show that they play all year, and I feel like it has been. It's just a fun time. We're engaging in between songs. The pickpockets they were taking requests there at the end. We got some fun ones on the horizon with them, so a few surprises. But like the 65 North Pickers, that was the first like big crowd that we had. Um, for one of our sessions, and it's just becoming a true community event, right? We invite like all of our local bands, a lot of the local artists. We've got several companies and brands that are around town that we invite out as well. And so it's just truly we're just forming this Salt Lake community that has existed, and we're just continuing to fuse the metals. Um, yeah, it's been a really fun endeavor this far, and for me personally, I'm just getting the opportunity to watch some of my favorite bands come out and play a live show in my backyard where I get to walk 50 steps and, go sleep in my own bed. So what cooler experience is there than that? And,
I think you figured it out right there. That's the selling point.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it has truly been one of the proudest things that I've accomplished. And, the cool thing about that is that we're just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, five's a good number. Five's a good turning point. Whether it's year five for a festival or the fifth production you've done, I think you're obviously starting to get your bearings. I've noticed growth all across of watching the first five sessions.
Thank
Um,
you.
this last 65 North session was really on point. I like the production, all the camera angles, everything looks good on that. And I do like, you mentioned like just recently adding the addition of the crowd. I think it's pretty nice. I think it gives you kind of that like old school talk show kind of feeling where you can't see the crowd, but you can hear them reacting. That being said, is this just kind of like strictly invite only for the local community, and you're just assembling the right people to be in this space that you think need to be there to collaborate or deserve to be there in that moment?
Well, to answer the first question, it is technically a private invite thing. But as we've done over the single year of business of Mo Banjo Co, we roll and shake with the different things that come our way. So, who knows? Hopefully, we are at a point where there's a high enough demand, people reaching out, where we could perhaps entertain selling tickets, and obviously that goes back to the band. But yeah, it's less of a you've earned the right to be here type of thing, and more of a, hey, we're connected through our community. Um, and we just want everybody to support everybody. So everybody that's there is an artist. We've had Gregory Mountain Packs, who has become a great sponsor of ours. They're there in attendance. Snowbird Mountain Resort there in attendance. The Jackrabbit Lounge down in Provo there in attendance, along with of course we're inviting all of our friends and venues and stuff like that, like around the city. So and then like all the bands and everything that we've become friends with over the last year. So it's truly like invite. It's private, it's invite, but it's not like an earned thing. It's hey, you're part of the community, so come experience this, right? And if you're a band that hasn't done this yet, well, come check this out because we want you to be up on the stage someday, right? And
That's cool.
yeah, yeah. So it's just been a really fun of just, again, bringing the community together.
Absolutely. It's so it seems like it's a bit more of a networking moment for some of these people to kind of get there, shake each other's hands, and know who everybody is in this community. I love that. I think as we were talking about, as big and wide as the internet is these days, it's still very important to know who your neighbors are and to make sure that you can love on them and help them in any way you can.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. I know more of my bluegrass neighbors in Salt Lake than I do my actual neighbors.
That's the way it gives. Well, maybe some of those neighbors close by will hear the tunes and want to pop over sometime.
Oh, it's happened, yeah, and of course they're invited. It is funny that we've had just about every occasion a different neighbor come by saying, "Hey, we heard the music. It sounds great. Well, come on in."
That's the goal, right?
Yep, exactly.
Very cool. Well, I had the chance to listen to the North Fork Crossing episode, and I know me and you last time we
Mm,
talked kind of talked about that, how you had to pivot and bring that out of the backyard indoors. I love the chance I got to
yeah,
sit down and talk with those guys. But it's really cool to see their growth here over this last year and get down there. It seems like I've been noticing Salt Lake City kind of popping up more on tour schedules
good.
than 2025. So it's cool to see it. Cool to see a scene out there. You know, we obviously have these places like Nashville or Denver or Asheville or wherever. But you think about these other cities. I mean, Salt Lake City obviously is very much populated, so there's room for a bluegrass scene there.
100%. Yeah, and when kind of back to the beginning when talking about this recognizing that, Salt Lake has been kind of the pass through city, if you will, right? And yeah, it is kind of far from other larger cities, but and it there's obviously the corridor and whatever, but um yeah, it's a really proud moment to see Salt Lake starting to get more and more recognized and booked as a tour destination, and we just want to continue improving that, right? And then soon, hopefully we're competing with our neighbors to the east in Denver and Colorado, and it's not competition; it's helping in one another, right? And we just,
Absolutely.
we look at it from a perspective of why not us, right? Like, why can't we have just as good of shows as Denver and weekends built around bluegrass and multiple festivals and, more towns sprouting their music festivals and bluegrass festivals and stuff like that. And it's starting to come around. And, I feel like I don't know how much of a significant role we've played in that, but I do feel like just the general positivity towards the community is really starting to continue to build, and it's trending positively. And yeah, it's just a really awesome time to be in Utah, in broader Salt Lake, and being a part of this music scene.
That's awesome, man. I love that you are making your guys' own lane out there, and you're doing what you can to help out. That's what we're all here to do.
Much appreciated.
And I've listened to it multiple times. I can't even count at this point, but that 65 North Pickers live session is so good.
It's
Obviously we
so
love
good.
the Pickers out here. I'm from
Yeah.
Kentucky. They're down in the Lexington area. Any chance I can see them, we can see them. It's great, and I love what they got going on there. And I think you
Oh my
did
gosh.
a very great job of capturing their sound and their image.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah, that 65 was just from like an overall production standpoint. I think it was uh, we figured out a lot of things along the way, and it all kind of culminated into that 65 set. Our lives are made easy by extremely talented bands, and everybody we've had out is incredibly talented. It's just been so awesome to watch 65 grow. And, through over the past year or so, I think I remember coming across their page right kind of when we got started. And it's like, holy cow, who are these kids? And I can call them kids because I'm 32 and, Q's 19 and the rest of the band's in their early 20s. I was just blown away at just how talented. And then you find out, they've only been a band for a little over a year. And then, they come out, and it was really fortunate. We were able to spend a good amount of time with them, outside of the session. And then it was a great opportunity. We were able to get them a show booked with Theoretical Blonde, one of our awesome local bands. And they played at a venue in Salt Lake. So it was kind of what we talked about earlier, 65 session. They actually crashed with us both nights, which was a really fun opportunity just to get to know them a bit and hang. So yeah, it was like a Wednesday night 65 session, and then the next night, Thursday night, they played with Theoretical Blonde, and you get to hang out with a band like that. And I swear, and I told them this, they're so tight. They speak in their own language. Like we went to lunch, and I took them hiking that Thursday before the show, and we're riding around. I'm like, what the hell are you guys even saying? They're just like speaking in this. They're just, that's who they are. They're tight, and it's so cool. It was such a cool thing to witness. Not only such a talented band and talented group of musicians individually, but then just to see how they operate outside of being up on stage, being in the limelight, how they support one another, and really love one another as a person, like brothers and sisters, right? So yeah, it's been really cool to watch their journey over the last year, and again, growing together. I feel like as we've kind of grown our brand, we've really kind of been you know watching the evolution of 65. And yeah, I think so highly of that band. I From the get-go, could not be more proud of what they're doing, could not love their music more. They're literally one of my favorite bands out there, and it's just cool to see a band so young and thriving. But then also too, just so willing to give back to the community. They are just generous, nice, solid at their core people, and outside of just being incredibly talented musicians, I think that, that type of mentality towards others and just staying humble is what's going to take them to that next level. And not that they're already there, not that they couldn't get there off the music alone, but there's just nothing in my mind better than being able to see extremely peak level talent combined with just human generosity to the nth degree. There's nobody that, there's very few bands out there that deserve to, have that level of success. And I think 65 North Pickers is right there.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with all of that. We love them. That their evolution alone over the last year or so, their trajectory is huge. And then like you talked about, they're also so young, and the way they've came together, through social media, Q getting in there
Yeah.
with Jake and Nate, and then Tally joining on
Yep.
to play some shows, and then becoming a full member of the band. I think it's such a cool thing to see it all kind of come together naturally, and it's really rewarding to everybody involved when the right people come together like that. Us as listeners of the music, we wouldn't be able to enjoy that if they didn't have that synchronicity, if they didn't have that
Yep.
relationship with each other. Um,
Yep.
so I think it's really awesome and really special to see some talent like that at such a young age. And just going back to the power of the internet, it's like, man, now more than ever is just the time to grow and the time for people to be broadcast out there and put in front of others. It's just really cool to see that all happening, and I'm glad you got to capture them perfectly and get to and spend some time with them out there. That's awesome.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I will say this, because I'd be remiss if I didn't, you know, while Backyard Bluegrass is part of what Mo Banjo Co does, and I would be nothing, or we would be nothing without my business partner Paul and our sound engineer Brian. I mean, they are truly what brings it to life. And Brian's been there since day one. And if you go back and watch the original videos of Pixie and the Party Grass Boys, we're gonna have you back out, I promise. The production just wasn't there, but the sound was, right.
Sure.
And so then the Paul came along for volume 2, Raccoon Rodeo, and that's really when everything changed, right? For us as shifting to from just like marketing and figuring it out to okay, we want to be a legit media company. Um, was the addition of Paul not only as a business partner but as an extremely talented videographer and photographer. We do the backyard sessions, but we really built a lot of really strong relationships, I think, with like shooting live shows and events. And um, we were able to jump into the Ogden Music Festival a few months ago and be a part of like their social media and media arm. And yeah, it was just it's just we would be nothing without those two. So super appreciative of those two as well.
Heck yeah. Well, shout out to them. And that was a perfect intro for a question that I had written down.
Sure.
Was kind of how do you go about this backyard setup? What kind of technical difficulties are you guys facing out there? And yeah, just tell me a little bit more about it. It's really cool.
Sure. Well, it is an extreme. Well, I say this as the very non-technical guy, right? So
Likewise.
this is the better question for Bryant and Paul. I plant the flowers and post the stuff that they make on social media, but um, you know, for from the technical side, and I'm really proud of this, and it was kind of the vision all along. Bryant and Paul have their systems so dialed in that Bryant, and actually this is proof in the pudding. On our last recording with Pickpockets, so the sixth endeavor, Bryant was literally able to take the session recording and process it and master it that night, right? So like we're pretty dialed in as far as the overall like production and being as minimalistic as possible with their technology setups. And the whole intent is, look, hey, 65 North Pickers, Pickpockets, hey, band, come play a backyard session. We're 15 minutes from downtown Salt Lake. In about 90 minutes, we can rip you 5 to 6 songs and in good solid video and audio recordings, and then you guys can head right on back and either play your set or hang and play your set tomorrow night. It's just like super minimally invasive. We just want the artist to be able to show up with their instruments, and that's it. Right now we're single can, dual mic type deal. But and so the recordings, we're not miking up each individual instrument. um but and then the lighting is just kind of the natural lighting. We've kind of figured out, an hour or two before sunset is kind of like the ideal time frame, but we want to stay minimal. We don't want to go for this crazy major production. We don't feel like that's where the value lies, right? The value lies in we're creating a great and fast, efficient product for artists that they can come in and feel comfortable uh, recording with us and, hang out for a beer afterwards or in between and stay for some pizza or, head off to the show because it only takes about 2 hours round trip to come on down to get a backyard session done. So yeah, it is a super non-intensive way of getting it done, which I hope, and I've from what I've been told from the other artists is that they really do appreciate that it's simple. I think we're getting the best bang for our buck, which is important to me as a business owner, but I feel like also extremely important to the artists who we don't want them to feel like they're under any pressure to perform or do anything crazy, right? Like just come and play like you're playing in your backyard because that's the intent.
Absolutely. Well, the old famous saying, "Time is money." So I love that. If people want to, you can get them in and get them out of there, or they can stay and hang for as long as they'd like.
Exactly.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, hey, again, it's roots music, right? It's community-based music, and we want those artists that come, especially the ones that come and visit us from out of town, to feel like they're right at home, not just with our production and hanging out with our Mo Banjo Co team, but hanging out with our fans of the music and our different artists that are there behind the camera cheering them on.
Yeah, that's really something special you got going on. You've been talking about the pickpockets. You got that coming up for number 6. Um, Super excited. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, first of all, we just love those guys. I mean, Alec, Jake, Dante, Aiden are just the best. And, it's funny. I was probably bugging the hell out of Dante early on when I first got his number and was trying to help him out with any videos or recordings or whatever I could do, right? We were just trying to build those relationships. And I feel like now it's kind of come into full fruition, and we're just so supportive of the pickpockets, and really it's all of our bands in Salt Lake City. I know I named Raccoon and Pixie, Theoretical Blonde, the Wasatch Valley Drifters, Amy Sisman and the Sisman, who is a really fun up and coming band born out of the Trash Moon Collective that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so we're really just building our community. But at the core of that is the pickpockets, and have been a fan of theirs since day one, moving to Salt Lake. I go to just about every pickpocket show that there is around Salt Lake and broader. And, it's cool to see a band just like the city has their back, right? Um, and it only takes one pickpocket show. And I feel like this applies across the board to bluegrass, but man, you don't have to be a fan of bluegrass music to go to a pickpocket show. And you see Jake swapping between electric and acoustic guitars, and Alec just absolutely sawing that fiddle. You're in Dante up there jamming the head, or maybe it's an 8 and 2 minute long bass solo in the middle of a song. But we just love and support the hell out of those guys, and it's the feeling is mutual. I think that they feel quite the same about us. At least I hope so. They're always, we're always just supporting them and supporting one another. I don't think there's ever been anything that Dante's posted or tagged us in or whatever on their Instagram account um that we don't immediately approve. And we help them land shows not just around Salt Lake but broader, and just for nothing other than just supporting the community, right? And we're proud to we're proud to claim them as Salt Lakers, even though they've been here far before we were started and in Salt Lake. But yeah, just love that band. And it's funny, talk about 65 and the Pickpockets, like the two of literally of my favorite bands. And um, just what a cool thing it was to have them in the backyard too. So we're excited for that project. I think everybody's going to dig.
Absolutely. I love that the city of Salt Lake in the state of Utah is riding for those guys. I know from afar out
They
here in
are.
the Midwest, I love listening to them. I love seeing the media that you repost as well as everything they put out there. And you mentioned that element of switching back and forth between electric and acoustic.
Yeah.
Something I think is very special. Obviously, bluegrass music at its core is acoustic string band music. But we talk about, the use of pedals and
Yeah.
adaptations that we have today that we didn't have years ago. It's basically, no, it's basically turning that acoustic guitar into an electric guitar,
Yeah. Oh
or
my God.
in some kind of sense. So I
Yeah.
think having those abilities, it's like, well, we can let some electric instruments on stage and jam some bluegrass. I'm a huge fan of the Clay Street unit.
Yep.
Absolutely
Likewise.
love those guys. And every time I see them, it kind of blows my mind. Every one of them, it seems like, maybe besides the drummer and the pedal steel, obviously, but even pedal gets up and does some other things. But it's like those cats all have multiple instruments that they're picking up
Yeah.
and swapping back and forth. They've got the electric banjo and electric mandolin. You talk about adding some of these elements to bluegrass. I guess we can call it new grass, right?
Yeah.
But it's really special and it's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it sure is. And it's funny. It used to be, I feel like bluegrass bands having to go out of their way to kind of play more like modern alternative, whatever types of music. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I've started to see more alternative based rooted bands try to get into more bluegrass rooted music. And I think that that just speaks volumes of where the genre of music is currently and is headed for the future. And I think it's all due to what you mentioned, like the versatility of the technology backing these instruments. And look, I'm a non-musician, right? I'm a non-photographer, non-sound guy. I'm a dot connector type of guy, but I could certainly appreciate the hell out of this music. And yeah, to your point, it's like the evolution of the technology is just so insane and so versatile. And yeah, just the sound just keeps getting better and better. Seems like not even year after year. It's like month after month. It's, what new musician out there did this, and now it's blowing up on social media, and so all the other bands are like, holy shit, we need to incorporate that, right? It's the power of this really tight knit community too. I feel like everybody trying to, it's like little rivalries too, which are good. I think it's a good
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. You got to have those little rivalries to keep things going. I think it's
Hmm.
really, we're really obviously seeing it as we've been talking about this whole episode, just the evolution of bluegrass and where it's came over the last few years. But I mean, looking in the last like decade or two as a whole of bluegrass and traditional music, there's great big acts that have came through and kind of dibbled and dabbled in that sound, like the Avett Brothers and Mumford and Sons, and some of these, more folky or maybe even alternative rock, however you want to look at these different bands, all kind of play around with this traditional string band sound. Um,
Hmm.
and then on the flip side, I think we have bluegrassers who are playing with the other sounds now, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the implements of all these instruments and all these tools. You've got 65 covering all kinds of stuff during their shows. Same thing goes
Yep.
with Billy and many others. It's like the horizons are broadening. People are dibbling and dabbling into different unique things out there. And I think it's just a really cool, special moment to see all of that happening
Yep.
in real time.
Couldn't agree more. All it took was Billy playing with widespread, and the rest was history.
Yeah, I mean, one of many. And speaking of widespread, 65 does some real good widespread songs. So it just goes to
Yep.
show, right? We might be a traditional bluegrass band, but the capability that most of these cats have nowadays is mind-boggling to me. I'm no talented musician myself. I love to try and play music, but it doesn't sound very good. Uh, that being said, I think it's really unique how all of this has came together, and also looking at the fan bases, right? There's a lot of crossover happening right now,
Okay.
um, and you're seeing bluegrass acts getting put on festivals, large festivals, whether it be Bonnaroo or Lollapalooza, or any of these things. It's like these bluegrass acts are now like headlining some of these
Yeah.
places. Um,
Exactly. I mean, look at Mountain Grass Unit at Bonnaroo playing with Kesha. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, who would have ever thought that? And
right. Like,
then
yeah.
shout out to my friends, Zootown Music Festival in Missoula, Montana, and our friends Hunter, the North Fork Crossing boys. I mean, going out and playing, they held it down for us bluegrassers. They were the only bluegrassers on the festival lineup and shredded. And I saw videos from their set at Zootown a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. Just
Yeah.
seemed like the crowd was just loving it.
I got the chance to briefly chat with them about that as an upcoming show. And
Nice.
honestly, it made me so happy to see their name on that bill,
Me
with
too.
all of those other bands, right? It's like they were really the only like traditional bluegrass act on there. And that just goes to show that bluegrass is selling, bluegrass is hot, and most importantly, bluegrass is cool, right?
Bam. Exactly.
Heck yeah. Well, I know we talked about the pickpockets coming up, but what else can we expect to see from Mo Banjo Co. in the next coming year?
Yeah, well, we've got a lot just in the hopper right now. A lot of different ideas. I my two business partners, Paul and Rob, they've always got to talk me off a ledge because I'm the idea guy and I just bring a million different ideas. um, but we ultimately, we're staying put with our backyard bluegrass sessions. That is absolutely something that we're just going to continue to grow and evolve from. We're actively booking our next year's lineup. We're trying to build where we shoot kind of in like a two to 3 month windows, because it can get very hot in Salt Lake this time of year through August. So, and then it's obviously, the winter. We tried to shoot our friends Raccoon Rodeo. They did a great job, but it was taking about 10 minutes between each song to warm up the fingers. But shout out Pete on the banjo. But
That
yeah,
made for some great
so
aesthetics, though.
well, thank you. Yeah. Shout out Solo Stove, sponsor us, please. We'd love to talk. Um um but yeah, no, so obviously Backyard Bluegrass is a mainstay, and any bands that are interested, please just reach out. We'd love to get you booked for a session. We'd love to get you a second night for a show in Salt Lake. Um, Outside of that, it's just continuing to build relationships, right? We're helping bands actually now start to book Mountain West tours and just get connected with some of the connections we've been able to build. Um, and so that's actually been a really fun process bringing that into our repertoire. Um, and then, outside of that, it's just kind of we take opportunities as they come. We love being affiliated with different opportunities, whether it's festivals or even just one-off live shows. Um, and we're just continuing to build relationships. We've got a few things in the hopper that are exciting ideas around festivals and maybe even like kind of brick and mortar opportunities. And shout out to our friend Macklin from Strings Theory, who just moved to Park City as well. He's been a really fun addition to our Salt Lake, Utah, broader Utah bluegrass and folk music and jam bands, I should say. Um, Community, because he's got a great following. He's got a great love for the music as well, and so he was an instant spark in a great ad. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Strings Theory yet, but Macklin is the man, and we're
Yeah,
happy to have him
honestly,
in Utah.
the last I would say 2 to 3 months, he's been on my feed, or I should say his page has been on
Yeah,
my feed, quite a bit, and I enjoy seeing what all, they're working on and putting out over there.
good. Yeah, he's a great person and a true lover of the music, and has the same goals in mind: support community first, and figure out the rest along the way. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun conversations about the future of the music industry and the scene overall. And you know, I say Salt Lake, but it applies to Park City, to Logan, to Provo. It's a really awesome uh, community that we're could just continuing to build on. It's been there all along, and I think that we're just continuing to shed light on it and appreciative of all the opportunities that everybody's given us thus far.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Well, hopefully we can make it out west sometime and, check
Come
you
on,
guys out there and visit.
come on, yeah.
I think
We're I don't know how far off we are from having our own little festival, but that's going to be in the works here soon.
Absolutely. Well, as that comes about, you let us know how we can
Come
support.
on,
I'd love to cover the event, so you let me know when it is, and I'll be there.
absolutely, yeah. Thank you. We'd love to have you.
And I think I saw you say something recently online about coming out to Billy soon. Coming
Oh
out
yeah,
east, maybe.
yeah, absolutely. We'll be at Billy Ween. Are you going to be?
We'll be at Billy Ween. Let's go.
Let's go. There is a huge contingent. So we're gonna have some fun. But yeah, well, gosh, let's make sure that we get a picture of like the all these brands and businesses that are out there too. Everybody supporting all these bands and artists that we love. But we should make sure to get a picture because I think just about all of us are gonna be at Billy Ween this year. We're
Yeah,
excited.
it's going to
This
be
is our first
fun.
one.
I know there's a lot of events brewing up for that whole weekend going on in the city. So it's always a great opportunity. I think Billy, obviously, he's doing his nationwide touring, worldwide touring at this point. But there's a few cornerstone events that Billy does that I think brings everybody together, and Halloween is one of those special places. No matter the location, it's always a really unique time. I've gotten the chance to catch, I believe, 3 Billy Ween shows now.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, you want to talk about production, and honestly, I think that's what really was like. All right, I'm gonna check this guy out even more, because I was always a fan of him. But the moment that I saw him um, bring out, I don't even know what it was, maybe 10 or 12 at least different guest artists. Everybody from Lindsay Lou to Chris Pandolfi,
Yep.
you name it. The greats are all there. And I think that's what really did it for me, is like, man, if you're only going to make it to one concert in a year, you might as well make it to Billy Ween, because you're going to see more bluegrass artists there than some of these festivals even.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, we're unbelievably excited. We've been to, I don't know how many Billy shows, but this will be our first Billy Ween, and can't wait. Can't wait to meet you in person too.
Yeah, dude,
See a
it'll be
bunch of the
great.
crew.
As we'll have to do some off camera brainstorming and think about some cool ideas we can do, maybe some little collaboration or something for that weekend, have some fun.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yeah. The possibilities are endless with that one.
They truly are. They really are. Well, Riley, I appreciate you coming through today. I don't want to take up too much of your evening. We'll start wrapping
Yes,
it
it's
up.
been fun.
How can people find you out there? And then also the number one thing I like thinking about is, what is the best way someone can support you?
Wow. Well, I think the biggest thing right now, support-wise, would be just following us on YouTube and Instagram. Both handles are at Mo Banjo Co. We are actually in the process of revamping our website. Hopefully that's launched this week. So by the time this airs, we'll have a new refreshed website that we're really excited about as well,
Awesome.
which that's mobanjo.co. So yeah, just supporting us. And honestly, the biggest thing for us, if you're an artist that is even on the fence, hey, do we need more content, whatever, just reach out. We're happy to help facilitate, at least at very minimum, Salt Lake show or two, along with getting you on the Backyard Bluegrass series. Supporting that helps support us, in supporting artists and helping artists be artists, right? We do keep that completely free. I guess I should have mentioned that at the top. Our Backyard Bluegrass series is 100% free to the artists, um, and free now to the community as well that attends. And so the biggest thing for us is, as this evolves, we've got to, so that we can continue to do this. We are exploring sponsorship opportunities. So, brands out there and companies that are interested in getting their name slapped on our videos or partnering on collaboration items and stuff like that, we're absolutely game for it. And so, shoot me an email, Riley@mobanjo.co, and we can chat about that too. That way we can continue keeping this fun backyard series free for the artists, free for the community, and hopefully all pages grow together.
Absolutely. I love that. I think more than ever, it's not a time to get rich by any means, but it's a time to be sustainable and find your lane and
Exactly.
find what works for you and your core group, as well as your brand, your business. And just being able to sustain right now and have longevity, I think, is the most important thing. So glad to see you're focused on all of the right things there.
Appreciate
I hope this little conversation we were able to have here today, like we talked about earlier, even if it just brings 5 to 10, new faces
it.
to the Mo Banjo Co. Idea, that would make me more than happy. So,
Love it.
cheers, Riley. I really appreciate you for your time today, and look forward to chatting with you some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Hunter, thank you so much for having me, man. This was a blast. I could have kept going another half an hour, but
No, we're
yeah,
gonna.
really, really
I was gonna
enjoyed it.
say we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again
Yeah,
real soon. Let's circle back. touching on the Bluegrass Roadshow a little bit, this idea is, like you said with Mo Banjo, it's always growing. It's always something that's in the works. But I would love to, have you back on and we can circle back and have a deeper conversation. I like kind of assembling. I like to say we're assembling the Avengers right now. We're bringing all the right
Exactly.
people together that need to work with each other. So if me and you can, tap in with each other and have a recorded conversation here for the people every 3 to 6 months, I like to think about what I have going on here with this specific audio recordings as more of like a talk show than your typical podcast, in the sense that I want it to be able to get out there to listeners, but also, have returning guests and some topics that we can discuss on. Obviously, this is a little bit more of an interview, a little Mo Banjo Co. intro to the Bluegrass Roadshow world. But I like the idea of just being able to sit down every so often with good like-minded people and having you guys on. So we'll definitely be chatting again, and the public will be hearing from us together again real soon.
Love it, Hunter. Thank you so much for having me, man. I look forward to coming back on and chatting some more. I would love to do this as often as you want to have me on. So
Sounds
thank you.
good. We'll make it a thing.
Sounds good, brother.
Have a blessed evening.
Yeah, man. You too.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Bluegrass Roadshow. If you've made it this far, we appreciate you sticking around and listening to the whole thing, and hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I just want to thank Riley for sitting down and giving us a couple hours of his time and telling us what Mo Banjo Co. is really all about. It truly is refreshing to see such avid and eager faces in the bluegrass scene who care about it as much as we do. If you haven't already, please go check out his Instagram and YouTube at Mo Banjo Co., as they have a new session dropping with the Pickpockets real soon that you'll definitely will not want to miss. Also, be sure to check out their website, mobanjo.co, where you can check out their merch, see updates on upcoming sessions, as well as shows in the Northwest, and so much more. Also, stay tuned for our next internal episode breaking down my experience at Romp Bluegrass Festival back in June and what it was like to get behind the scenes and capture some awesome media for them. One last reminder, if you haven't done it yet, please go to our website and subscribe to the mailing list, as this is the biggest way you can support us. Lastly, a special shout out goes to Jake McNulty for crushing out this intro-outro tune. Make sure you go check him out on Instagram at Jake's Bando, and better yet, go out there and catch a show. As the great Hank Williams would say, if the Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll see y'all next time.